Today we're going to have a workshop about Om and spirituality, which is also connected with yoga. So Namaste, sir.
Namaste. Namaste, Asmi.
Thank you so much for giving your time. I would like to introduce you to people who are watching us. So, Abhishek is the founder of Yoga Mana Center. He is a yoga guru, and he's a person who has been a dedicated part of Seven Borders, because he's a person who has managed to reveal, to open up the world of yoga and spirituality for many of our foreign participants who visited India. So he is the person who has opened many doors to our participants, showing the wonders of yoga. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us today. So today we're going to talk about Om and spirituality connected with yoga. Okay. To start with, if you would like to introduce yourself in 2 minutes, more detailed, then I would really like to know more. What is Om for Indians? What it means?
Okay, so thank you so much for this beautiful topic, that is Om, spirituality. And there are so many misconceptions and misunderstandings people are facing through Om, like what actually the Om is. Because when people come to India from abroad, they face different definitions of Om. Like in different parts of India city, in different cities they face different characters of Om. So what actually what is the definition of Om according to our Hindu or Indian philosophy? Like it is basically a symbol. The truth behind Om is that it is basically a Hinduist symbol, okay, and it is a spiritual symbol which basically denotes the God. In our Indian Hindu philosophy, it basically denotes the God, okay. And what actually the Om is, what is the meaning of Om, and why do people chant Om? So I have written something about Om here, so you can see it if it is visible. Like what is Om? Is it? I hope you guys can see it. So basically, this is the Om symbol, okay, which is in a structure of Om, okay. But when we write this in Sanskrit, this is the Sanskrit name of Om. It is divided basically in 3 different parts, okay, A, U, and Ma, okay. So when we pronounce it, also it comes with the definition of, with the pronunciation of A, U, and Ma. But in Indian philosophy, there is meaning of each and every word there, okay. So like if I talk about the past, in history, in the ancient time, in many Indian religion texts, Om is described in different definitions, okay. So A is defined as the creator, the one who creates. U is defined as to sustain or to maintain the creativity. Whatever is created, who is to maintain that creativity, okay. And Ma is the destroyer, okay. So these 3 things, okay. So and it is also said that Lord Shiva in Indian philosophy, the Lord Shiva is the creator, he sustains, and he is the only one who destroys, okay. So this is the basic meaning. You can say that the creator, the sustainer, and the destroyer, okay. And the second thing is also, is also known as the inner soul, okay. Who is known as the Brahma, the creator, okay. So when we chant Om, Hu, and Ma, that means we are connecting our soul to the God, okay. That is the connection, okay. So this is the basic meaning of Om. Why we chant Om? Because the vibrations of these 3 creates, maintains, and destroys, and gives us the energy to connect us with the God. So this is the basic explanation of Om, okay. And also, if I talk about A, U, and Ma, it is called Akar, okay. The chanting A is called Akar in Sanskrit. U is called Ukar, okay. And Ma is called Makar, okay. So when we combines or joins these three words, it becomes Om. The combination of these three becomes Om. So this is the basic and very general meaning of Om, that it connects us with our inner soul and with the God.
So, Abhishek, sir, you explained us what is Om all about, the connection of soul with God. So, there are a lot of people who practice yoga all over the world. There are so many followers of various streams of yoga. However, there are also some tendencies to differentiate various types of yoga, such as yoga being spiritual practice, being connected with Hinduism, something religious, which other religions would not do it. And then there are some other people who consider yoga just as an activity, physical activity, you know, to keep them healthy, to keep them their body active. What's your opinion about this? Do you consider yoga as an activity, or do you think it's lifestyle, it's spirituality? What is for you yoga?
Basically, this is really a very important question you have asked, because when students comes to me from abroad, they also ask the same questions many times, because they have many misunderstandings for this question. What actually, according to me, yoga is not only a physical practice. It is physical, mental, and spiritual. These three combinations are there. Okay, so through yoga you get also physical, mental, and spiritual. These three things comes from yoga. And if you talk about sports, there you will find only physical and sometimes mental activities. Okay, so there is a major difference between sports and yoga. Okay, and the second thing is that yoga, if you talk about the ancient time, from the ancient time, yoga was never considered as only stretch. But nowadays, people think that yoga postures are only a stretch. Okay, because there are many practices, and I have seen people, they say that we want to do this stretch. Rather than saying the name of the posture, they say, we love this stretch. But I by telling the name of the posture. But no, that this is not a stretch, this is the name of the posture. Okay. And second thing is that if you go through Patanjali, Patanjali was the person, was our ancient saint who compiled the yoga in a textbook that was named as Patanjali Yoga Sutra. The name of that text was Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and he has given the 8 steps in yoga, 8 different steps to achieve the final stage in yoga. And posture is one of that stage, one of the steps. Okay, so you cannot compare the sports and yoga. Yoga is something very different thing as compared to sports. It comes in yoga, spiritual, mental, and physical. 3 things come. But if you talk about sports, only physical and mental piece will be there.
Yes, you have replied very nicely to our question, and we're slowly having some of the people who participated in your classes joining us live. So greetings to everyone who are joining at this moment. So you talked about the spirituality connected with yoga, and you talked also about Om. But could you just demonstrate how to chant correctly Om? And whenever you chant Om, there are different postures for the hand as well. Could you just demonstrate and explain us what's the meaning of it? And in general, can I just say Om with my hands like this? Or does it have any other meaning?
Okay, so basically, whenever we chant Om, it is very necessary to first know what is the Om actually is. Because if you are not aware with the knowledge of Om and you are keep on chanting Om, you will not get the proper results of Om. So before chanting
Okay, so guys, don't do like this, like I'm doing it. Don't chant like that.
Whenever we start to chant Om, we should know what gestures we should put before pronouncing the Om. Okay, and whenever you chant Om, Om should be done through you, not by you. There is a major difference. Like it should come from inside. Like if you are putting efforts in chanting Om, then you will never get that particular piece from that Om. It should come from the inner side. Okay, you should feel that chant, you should feel that vibrations and the steps. What are the steps to feel that vibrations? Okay, when we chant Om, it is divided in three parts of our body. Okay, the vibrations of we can feel in our abdomen region. The vibrations of O we can feel in our chest region, and vibrations of Ma we can feel in our head region. Okay, so these are the places where we should keep our concentration while chanting Om. Okay, and what gestures we should put? Like this is Gyan Mudra. This is basically a Gyan Mudra because our body is made up of 5 elements. Our body is made up of 5 elements. In Sanskrit, it is known Shiti Jal Pavak Gagan Samira, which means water, earth, air, sky, and fire. So our body is made up of these 5 elements. So whenever we put this mudra, that means we are balancing those 5 elements inside our body. Okay, and this mudra is known as knowledge mudra or Gyan mudra. That means whenever you will going to put this mudra, you will feel relaxation, peaceful in your mind, in your state. Okay, so whenever we chant Om, we usually put this mudra. Okay, or
Okay.
for Om, for basically Om, you can also see this gesture behind the picture. The person is also putting the mudra Om.
Yes.
Okay, so this is basically the knowledge mudra, or you can also put like this, simply by sitting like this, near to your navel. I will show the place where you can put it near to your.
I will also
Yeah.
posture.
So by putting here also you can chant Om. Now, how to chant Om? Okay, because there are 3 words, and it is very necessary to understand each and every word. The
And
okay. So when we chant, first we start with U, and Ma. So I will chant it once so that you can hear it. By closing the eyes and by putting this mudra, once I will chant and then I will describe it. With a deep inhale. So 3 words in a single word. Okay. Should be very minimum. Like when we start Om, should be minimum. You have to stretch the O part. O part. You can take like 75% O part and 25% Ma part, the last one. Okay. And when you chant O, you will feel the vibration in this region, the torso part. And when you finish it with the Ma, you feel the vibrations in your head. Okay. So with this vibe, with this positivity, we chant Om, we get better results. We get better peaceful by putting this mudra and Om. You can get this.
great. This was very, very useful. And the way you chanted Om, it was very similar to hearing it in some temple with very nice vibration. So it was really, really impressive. Thank you so much. So we're now sitting with specific posture for Om, but I would request you just to sum up and to have the conclusion of our discussion about Om and spirituality, I would request you to pass to some practical part and to demonstrate for us several simple postures which could be really useful for people to do at home to keep themselves maybe cool, even to try to concentrate on their improvement, healing, as well as their physical fitness. Very basic.
Sure, yeah. I will show the basic postures also. And I would like to answer one more thing, that how Om and yoga both are connected. Because,
yes.
Because these both are very spiritual practices. Om is also a spiritual practice, and yoga is also an ancient and a spiritual practice. So whenever we start a yoga session, we always start with the Om chant. And the reason behind this is that when we start to chant Om, we get those vibes, those energies, those vibrations to give a surrounding of yoga. Okay, so before starting any yoga session, we always chant 3 to 6 times, 3 to 5 or 10 to 11 times Om chant. The reason behind this is that we want to create that particular aura of energy. Okay, so that we can be in that particular state for a long time. Okay, because if you will start without chanting Om, there are chances you may get fluctuations in your mind. So to stop those fluctuations, to stop that thought process, we chant Om before yoga practices. And yoga and Om, they both are connected. In our yogic text, in many yogic texts, it has been said that yoga is incomplete without Om. So their connection combines, because the word meaning of yoga is to connect. The meaning of yoga is to connect. And if we see the Om also, it also connects to us, to the God.
Yes.
And yoga connects our physical body to our soul, the inner body. And Om connects our soul to the God. So they both do the joining process. They connect us. So they both are very connected. And secondly, some of the postures which can help us for our physical body also, for mental body, and for spirituality also. So before starting the postures, I would like to introduce the sitting posture, how to sit, because it is very important. People are not aware with how to sit, because if they want to chant Om for a long time, if they don't know how to sit, they will not be able to chant for a long time. So I will show some sitting postures, how you can sit for a long time to chant Om. Like this is a very basic posture, and it is called Sukhasana, a very comfortable posture. In Sanskrit, it is called Sukhasana. Okay, and when you put your right feet over your left thigh, it becomes Ardha Padmasana, means half lotus posture. It is also a very comfortable posture for sitting, and it helps to keep our spine straight. Okay, and the second is when you bring your left feet over your right thigh, it becomes lotus posture, or in Sanskrit it is called Padmasana. Okay, it helps to keep our spine straight. Awareness, because when our spine is straight, our mind is alert. Okay, it is very important thing. When we are sitting dull, that means our mind is also dull. When we are straight, that means our mind is active. Okay, so sitting posture is also very important. Before starting the advanced postures or intermediate, you should know how to sit. Okay, now I will show you some basic posture. And now I will show you some basic posture which can help you to keep your physical body connected with you. The basic posture which I will teach you is today, that is Paschimottanasana. Paschimottanasana means, Paschim means back, Uttan means stretch. Okay, Paschima means back, Uttan means stretch. So I will show you how to perform this particular posture. I'm adjusting my camera so that you can see my full picture.
I would just like to inform all our followers right now who are here in our live that I and Mr. Abhishek, we will reply to all your questions after the posture demonstrations. Because some people have some topics to discuss about yoga and they're asking some questions. So we promise we will reply to all the questions.
Yes, sure, we will do that. Okay, so now we will, I will teach you some basic postures. So, Paschimottanasana, and it is also good for immunity boosting also. Okay, I will tell you how it is very good for immunity also. In this posture, you have to keep your spine straight and hand stretched up. This is called Paschimottanasana, hand to feet posture, and with an exhale. Yes, you can also perform. and with an exhale, you have to go down like this, hand, neck, and spine together as per your comfortable level. Okay, and your head should be down like this.
Get down.
And you have to stay there. You have to stay here for around 10 to 15 seconds as per your comfortable level. And after that, you have to come up and down. So why this posture? Why this Paschimottanasana posture? Paschima means back, your spine. Uttan means stretch. this posture helps to keep your spine flexible. First thing. Second thing, when we bend forward, it gives lot of pressure on your abdomen part also. So what happens? Our organs get pressurized. So the blood circulation on the layer of the organs increases, which helps us to for the proper digestion system, for the proper blood circulation, and for the proper oxygen circulation in each and every part of the body. Okay. The third thing, it is very good for the diabetes patients also. This posture is good for the diabetes patients also. And when we go down with an exhale and when we hold it, okay, after holding the breathe in, breathe out, what happens? The energy level inside the body increases. When oxygen reaches each and every part of the body, the energy level increases. So this posture helps in four major things: blood circulation, digestion system, oxygen level, and leg strengthening. Okay. Now the second posture, which is also very helpful, when we bend our right leg like this, and we put our right hand just beside our.
Oh, that's my favorite posture.
Okay, and we bring our left hand up, and with an exhale, we turn our head back. This is called Uttanasana, a twisting posture. It is a twisting posture, which what happens while performing this posture? The twisting part, the abdomen gets twist. Okay, so our liver, kidney, they get a pressure which helps for the proper blood circulation in that particular posture. So holding in this posture for 10 seconds. 10 to 15 like this. The name of this posture is Melu Vakrasana, spine twisting posture. And it is very necessary to balance the posture another side also. So whenever you perform a posture, always balance the same posture another side also like this.
Yeah, another side as well.
So it helps for the balance of the spinal cord.
It seems it's very easy, but in real neither the first one nor the second one is so easy because you need to breathe correctly. It's not just sitting and just the posture. I'm telling you for our followers because breathing is very important. To breathe and inhale and exhale correctly.
So these are the two basic postures which can help you to keep your with the twisting and with the pressure. The two things we have done: the twisting and the pressurizing. And the third thing, which is also very good, sitting like this in Vajrasana.
Yeah, it will be for sure.
It's a very good posture, and it helps very good for the digestion system. This is called Vajrasana. It is very helpful for the digestion system. It is very helpful for the hip joints. What we have to do? We have to spread our heels and we have to put our buttocks on our heels. Okay. And when we open our knees like this and spread our spine and put our head down like this, it is a rabbit posture. Or in some Shashankasana. It is very good for the nervous system, for those who are suffering from stress, anxiety, depression. So it helps to relax that particular part, but you have to stay there for around 15 to 30 seconds in this posture. It can help you in your mental nervous system. At that time, our both nostril works together. Okay, there is a science behind this that our left nostril is called Ida, our right nostril is called Pingala. Okay, and you can notice any time that our one nadi activates and one is deactivated many times. But in the morning, both the nadis works together. They both are active in the morning time. So morning time is the suitable time for chanting Om. And you can do 11 counts of Om chant. But for the beginners, for those who are completely beginners, I will suggest to chant 3 to 5 times in the beginning level, and then they can increase their level to 11 chant, and then to 21, and then to 31 as per their comfortable level. And if I talk about the night before sleep, if you chant Om before sleep, it is very good for your mind for proper sleep, those who suffer from insomnia. Okay, so it is very good to do chanting before sleep. So for the relaxation sleep, for the very peaceful sleep. So 2 times, the morning and the before sleep, the 2 times are the very comfortable and good time for the proper benefits of home chants.
Okay, great. This is a very good advice. So one more question is, what's the good duration for doing yoga? Like, I don't know, 10 minutes, 1 hour? Are there people who do it maybe 3 hours per day? What's the best?
Basically, it depends. It depends. Like if you are completely beginner, so I will not suggest you to go directly for 1 hour practice, because if you are beginner, you may get frustrated with 1 hour, because it is not easy to perform yoga for 1 hour if you are beginner. So initially, a good time is to like 20 to 30 minute session for the beginners is a good session. 20 to 30 minute session is a good for the beginners. But if you go, initiate your practice and if you feeling good, then you can increase it slowly to 1 hour practice. And 1 hour is sufficient, because in yoga you are not only doing postures, you have to do breathing also, and meditation is also a part of yoga. Okay, there are so many relaxation techniques. So you can divide them day by day. And in 30 minutes, you can do all these techniques day by day with a suitable like timetable. Like one day we have to do postures, standing postures. One day we have to do sitting postures. One day we have to do postures on our back. One day we have to do postures on our abdomen part. And one day we have to do breathing. One day the relaxation techniques. So you can divide those particular part in particular parts. And meditation is very important after every session. So I think for beginners, a 30-minute session is very good. 30 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we are done with the questions. These were all. I covered all the points that we decided for today. It was really great having you with us. Thank you so much for your time dedicated. I do hope that people who were watching us live, I do hope that you enjoyed it, because we had a really nice session about spirituality at home and connecting at home and yoga, and some bonus from Abhishek sir, some tips of basic postures in yoga which you can practice in the morning and have a better physical and maybe mental, spiritual state. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for everyone who has joined us.